So this is from Dawg Pound Daily. 3 Browns players and 2 coaches to blame for Cleveland missing the playoffs this year. Number 1 on their list, quarterback Deshaun Watson. Week 1 through 7 was a nightmare watch for Browns fans. Watson never fully got comfortable under center, posted some of the worst numbers for a starting quarterback ever seen. Never threw for over 196 yards in a game this season. Number 2, Kevin Stefanski. He's shown he can work with any quarterback not named Watson, but that's the issue. He might have be handed Watson again if he's healthy and good enough to start in 2025. Will he be able to use that as an excuse if Cleveland struggles again, not to score enough yards on offense? Most likely not. Number 3, Dustin Hopkins made 64% of his field goals, worst in his NFL career. 4, Deuce Staley. Some of the flatness from the running back room has to do with the offensive line, but we saw very little improvement in the play calling for these runners this season. Staley, well-respected coach, likely going to see better days with a revamped offensive line, but it was a bad year for him. Jedrick Wills Jr., team's offensive line, first pick in the 2020 draft, has yet to make a name for himself, and he is on the IR, probably headed to free agency. Again, Freddie, everybody's to blame. Watson, the quarterback play, was god awful, and my question is, how did you not play him in preseason? It didn't look like they were ready to start the season. That falls on Kevin Stefanski, who I think should be brought back. But I understand the questions that are being asked across the board here. You have to look at everything when a season is this big of a failure and disappointment. You got to look at everything. How you're getting guys ready. What's going on in training camp. You should be asking those questions of literally everything you did. That's how bad this year was.
Yeah, I think internally they are the thing, that we get anything, and I understand that, but there's those questions are asked all season, like about from the media, in defense, about why are you playing Watson? Why don't and it's just like we're just trying to do the best we can and we give us the best chance to win. And what do we got to do? Well, everybody watching you, the listeners, the audience out here, they all know you can pretty much see what's going on, but you don't see any changes, and that's what's a little frustrating. You talk about the kicker, a bunch of questions about Dustin Hopkins. He's our kicker, not bringing anybody else. What'd they do today? They brought in Riley Patterson, who was the kicker last year at the end of the season after Hopkins got hurt. Did a pretty good job. And you know it's things that are obvious that they never really answer those things, so you just are left to speculate. But yeah, I mean, it's if you and I can see what's wrong, they have to be able to see what's wrong. They have to be able to see that Watson was the problem, instead of saying, well, it takes all 11 and so forth. The offensive line didn't just magically get better the day he got hurt and right on down the line. There's all the way around. I think the personnel they over evaluated. Unless you want to look at last year, that the players all overachieved and played better than maybe they were. I think it's somewhere in between. They might not have been 11-6 team last year, but I don't think they're a 3-10 team this year. They might be more 8-9, 9-8, 7-10 type of situation. So the NFL is so fine, and it's when you play them in the schedule. If you're playing the Giants and the Raiders might have played their best at the time the Browns played them. You play them any other time, and you win those games easily. And the Saints were terrible at the beginning, and they got hot right when they fired their coach. And you look at the Broncos, they were terrible at the beginning of the year, and then their rookie found his footing. Jaden Daniels, was playing really well in his fourth game. Nobody expected that. So there's a lot of factors. And what they have to sort out, is it individuals? Is it the offensive line coach, the drop from Bill Callahan, or is it the players, or both? And, all the way around it. And that's what I said. They get paid to evaluate. And if you're going to keep Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, then it's kind of up to them to evaluate that. And they made the decisions, on the guys that came in. So, all things being said, it's a big uncertainty going this off season for sure. But the number one question that they have to resolve is who's going to be the quarterback, because as soon as the season's over or before, you have to have that established, or you know everything is built around, oh, you got to say Watson is under contract, but we're not bringing him back as the starter because nobody else is going to want to come here, including Jameis Winston or anybody, if you're going back that route. And so all the way around, it makes, unless you're just going all in, you're probably going to draft one. You don't even know where you're drafting yet. And so that's why I think these 4 games make a big difference. You could finish with the first pick, you could finish with the 10th pick. Who knows?